Hello, everyone. Welcome to reading time. This is day 2 of doing our reading on our iPads instead of whole group as a class. Again, we do it so we have some individuality and so that we can go at our own pace. So feel free to pause or play or rewind whenever you need a little bit of extra help, or if you miss something, or if you need a little bit of extra time. What was that? My hair? What are you talking about? My hair looks normal. I don't know what you could be possibly talking about my hair looking different. Let me look in the mirror. Ah! What was that? That was crazy. I had different hair on my head. Someone put a pink wig on me. Oh my goodness, someone help me. Phew, now that we've got that under control. Oh, do I look okay? Oh, okay, that was really scary. That must have been some sort of Halloween thing. All right, let's do our vocab. Our first vocab word for the day. All right, our first vocab word for the day is toiled. Can you say toiled? Toiled. If you toiled, you worked hard for a long time. So for example, after school, I have toiled to clean our classroom. What was that word? Toiled. Good job. Our next word is belong. Please say belong. Belong. When things belong to you, you own them or they are a part of you. So for example, this shoe right here belongs to me. What was that word? Belong. Good job. Our next word is gifted. Can you say gifted? Good job. If you are gifted at doing something, you are able to do it very well. So, a person who can sing, for example, is very, very well gifted singer. What was that word? Gifted, right? Like a talent. Our next word is persist. Please say persist. Persist. Great job. When someone persists, that person keeps doing it, even if it's hard. They do not give up. Someone who persists at doing something keeps trying over and over again. What was that word? Persist. Good job. Our next word is smeared. Can you say smeared? Smeared. If something is smeared, something dirty has been spread onto it. So for example, if I put mud all over my hands, they would be smeared with mud. What's that word? Smeared. Our last vocab word before we read is sketch. Please say sketch. Sketch. When you sketch something, you draw a simple picture of it quickly. So for example, I might just really quickly sketch a picture of a dog. It only takes a few seconds. What's that word? Sketch. Great job, friends. All right, we're moving forward to our anchor chart for the day. And our anchor chart for the day is, we've seen this one before, text organization. Let's read about it. Text organization. Informational texts have a structure or a type of organization that fits the topic and the author's purpose. Author's purpose, that's what we talked about yesterday. Description is one kind of structure or organization. Authors choose description to tell details about what something is like. So for example, we're describing the birdie right here. So they said that it feels like, a bird might feel soft. It looks like a small creature with feathers. It smells like, well, I'm going to be honest, I've never smelled a bird before, so I don't know. It sounds like, it makes a little chirpy noise and a little tweet, like chirp, 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 tweet, tweet. And it acts like, well, it flies. Sometimes it hops. So today we're going to be looking for descriptions in our text organization. So keep that in mind. I'm going to keep this right here so I don't forget. All right, you should have already grabbed your book We are going to be on page 76. 76. Pause the video if you need a second to find page 76. 76. Pause the video if you need a second to get to this page. All right. So, prepare to read. Ooh, realistic fiction. Pretty sure we just talked about that. You can follow along with me. Realistic fiction stories are made up but could happen in real life. So we're going to look for characters who have problems that real people might have. We're going to look for places that seem real. And we're also going to read to understand events in the beginning, middle, and end. Look for details in the words and pictures to help you. Then retell the events in your own words. Phew, that's a lot to do. I hope we can do it. All right, are you ready? Point to that very first word for me. See how I'm using my pointer finger? I would like you to do the same. All right. Dan Had a Plan by Wong Herbert Yi. You may turn the page. Put your finger under that first word. Follow along with me. Ready? "Hi, Dan," said Kim. "Can you see my bugs and bats?" "I see a big mess," said Dan. "We will go to the farmer's market. We will sell the bugs and bats. The money is for new library books." Okay. So it looks like they're making some crafts and they want to sell these crafts at a farmer's market in order to buy the library new books. That's what we've got so far. Be thinking about the text organization in our description. Are there any descriptors or anything that they're trying to explain to us here? They kind of just explained the fruit snacks and the craft. All right, turn the page. We're on page 80, which is 80, and I'm pointing to that first word. Pause if you need a second to catch up. Miss Walter likes to move very, very fast when sometimes she needs to just slow down. So if you need to slow me down, hit pause. All righty. "I like bugs and bats," said Dan. "I like books. Can I help?" "You are too little," said Kim. Dad and the neighbors set up. "Hi, kids," said Dad. All right, turn the page to page 82. Ready? Pause if you need to. 82. "Hi, Sam," said Dan. "Hi," said Sam. "Can I buy a bat?" "Did you see the big sign?" asked Dan. Dan had a plan. "We can help," said Dan. Ooh, so he set up his stand at the farmer's market. They're going to sell those treats, those crafts that Dan made, and make some money for the library. Page 84. 84, pointing to that first word. "Buy a bug," said Dan. "Buy a bat," said Sam. Look at the sign they're holding. It says, "Help the library." You can help by buying one of the bats or the bugs. "Is it good?" asked Tim. "Whew. It is great," said Sam. Tim ran to buy a bat. I'm going to pause here to check that I understand what's happening. So I can use the words and the pictures to help me retell this part of the story. So when Dan and his family get to the market, Dan thinks of a way that he and his friends can help. So he takes the sign from their table and walks around with his friend Sam. They tell people that they can help the library by buying their fruit snacks. Turn the page to page 86, which is an 8 and a 6. Pause if you need a second. Point to that first word. Ready? Can I buy a bug? Asked Pam. You can, said Dan. Many neighbors had bugs and bats. Ooh, so now in this part of the story, Dan and Sam tell people about the bugs and bats, and it looks like a lot of people want to buy them to help the library. The author is doing a really good job at keeping our text organized and giving us descriptions and descriptive pictures to help us understand the story. I have a question really quick that I'd want you to answer in your head. Is Dan's plan working? Remember, Dan's plan was to sell the bugs and the bat fruit snacks in order to get money for the library. Is it working? Yes, it is. He's got a whole line of people that want to buy his snacks. Turn the page to page 88, which is an 8 and an 8. It should look like this. Kim had the last one. Dan was sad. You are little, said Kim. You are a big help, too. Oh, I love that. I love how Kim said, you are little, like I said earlier, but you are a great help. So it doesn't matter that you're little. You have helped so nice. How does Dan feel now? I bet he's feeling happy. He's got a smile on his face. He's saying, and Kim is handing Dan what I think is the last treat. Turn the page to page 90, which is a 9 and a 0. Pause if you need a second to get to page 90. Ready? Point to that first word. Follow along with me. The new books are at the library. We did it, said Dan and Sam. Wow, so ultimately in the end, Dan's plan did help. Look at all of the new books that Dan got, made it so the library was able to buy with all of the bugs and bat fruit snacks that he sold. Wow, that's great. This is going to be up to your teacher how you do it, because Miss Walters is going to do it a different way, and Miss Meadows is going to do it a different way, and Miss Brennan might do it a different way too. But nonetheless, listen to the questions before your teacher gives you instructions. Our very first question of our turn and talk is to retell the story in your own words. We want you to tell the main things that happen first, next, and last. So your first job is to retell the story in your own words, telling the main things that happen first, next, and last. So however your teacher wants you to do it, go ahead and pause and answer that question. Our next question is, how does Kim feel about Dan at the end of the story? Why? How do you know? How does Kim feel about Dan at the end of the story? Why or how do you know? I'll give you a little hint. Shh, don't tell your teacher. Here's your hint. At the beginning of the story, Kim told Dan that he was too little and she didn't want his help. But then, by the end of the story, Dan had helped Kim a lot, and she said, you're little, but you're a great help. So how do you think Kim feels about Dan now if she said that he was a great help? Shh, don't tell your teacher I gave you that hint. How does Kim feel about Dan at the end of the story? That's your second question. Once you answer that question, pause if you need to answer the question. Once you answer that question, you're all done with reading for the day. Kiss your brain. Great job. Thanks for joining me today. I love seeing you guys on the video. And also, thanks for telling me about that crazy pink wig that was on my head. I don't know where that came from, but thank goodness for you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. All right, thanks so much for joining, and I will see you tomorrow in our next reading lesson. Bye, guys.